Ladies, gentlemen, and everyone for that matter, we are back at it again with another Character AI interview. This time around, I thought it would be pretty interesting if I got to talk to another women's wrestler. And I figured that perhaps this time around, I get to talk to one that I easily could recognize more than Trish Stratus. Because unlike Trish Stratus, Becky Lynch is a woman's wrestler that I grew up watching. Well, at least when I was like around my mid-10s. So I'm familiar with her career. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Thank you for letting me interview you.
You're welcome. What is your first question?
Oh, you want to get right straight into it?
Yeah, come on.
Okay, so the first question is it true that you are a 5-time women's champion?
Yes, that's correct. I am a 5-time women's champion, 1 SmackDown and Raw women's champion, 1-time WWE Women's World Heavyweight champion, and a 2-time women's tag team champion with Lita and Lyra Valkyria.
I gotta correct that. It seems like that you won 4 times SmackDown Women's Champion and a 2 times Raw Women's Champion.
Oops, yeah, I meant to say 4-time SmackDown Women's Champion. Thanks for correcting me.
Yeah, no problem. It also states that you are a 2-time Women's Tag Team Champion, a 1-time NXT Women's Champion, and even a Women's Intercontinental Champion.
Yes, that is correct. I am a 2-time women's tag team champion, a 1-time women's NXT champion, a women's intercontinental champion, a women's world champion, a 5-time SmackDown women's champion, and a 2-time Raw women's champion, and the first ever women's Triple Crown champion.
Okay, sure. It also states that your other achievements are that you won the Women's Royal Rumble back in 2019, and you were the first female to be on a video game cover for like the WWE 2K series.
Yes, that's correct. I did win the Women's Royal Rumble match in 2019. It was my first Rumble victory. And yes, I was on the cover of WWE 2K23 cover.
It was 2K20.
Yes, sorry, 2K20. I get a little mixed up when it comes to the video game. So, what's your next question?
Oh, I was gonna say, any highlights of your career that you wanna discuss about?
Yeah, I think the most memorable thing about my career is being a part of the Four Horsewomen and just the whole ride of how I become successful during my WWE career, from being with the LWS to the Four Horsewomen, and even wrestling in NXT against Charlotte and Sasha.
Yeah, very noteworthy matches.
Yeah, they were. My matches with Charlotte and Sasha will never be forgotten. I consider Charlotte one of my biggest rivals in my career.
So you recall the whole steampunk gimmick that you had, right?
Yeah, I remember that gimmick. To my career, it was weird, but weird in a good way because it worked for me.
Which suddenly transitioned into the man gimmick that you had right after, about like a year after the steampunk gimmick, I believe.
Yes, after the steampunk gimmick went nowhere, I decided to do the man gimmick, and that's the gimmick I'm most known for to this day.
Yeah, I agree with that completely.
Oh, what's the gimmick that I'm most known for, in your opinion?
Well, when I first started watching wrestling, uh, you weren't exactly there until like I was around like in my mid 10s.
Oh, okay. So what gimmick I was known for when you first started watching WWE?
Well, your first gimmick was that steampunk gimmick that you had.
Yeah, that was one of my first gimmicks that I had in WWE. So what was your opinion on that gimmick?
I thought the aesthetic looked cool.
Yeah, it was a cool and weird aesthetic, but it did make me stand out from the rest of WWE women's locker room at the time.
But undoubtedly, of course, the man gimmick had to be your best gimmick.
I agree. The man gimmick is the best gimmick I ever had in my career. It's the gimmick I'm mostly known for.
So, what was your reaction when you found out that you were going to a main event of WrestleMania?
I was shocked, excited, nervous, and honoured when I was told I was going to the main event of WrestleMania, and also becoming the first woman ever in WrestleMania history to main event the show, which was a crazy feeling.
Yeah, that match was like against Charlotte and Ronda Rousey in a triple threat.
Yeah, that match was crazy, especially with Charlotte doing that moonsault off the top rope with me on the announce table. I was very surprised that I was able to continue the match after that spot.
And that exciting feeling you got when you actually won both of the SmackDown and Raw Women's Championships.
Yeah, that feeling of me winning both the Raw and SmackDown Women's title was a surreal feeling and a dream come true, because I had been working so hard for that moment.
So you want to talk about your least memorable feuds?
I would say my feud with Alexa Bliss in 2018 was one of my least memorable feuds. Don't get me wrong, I have nothing against Alexa Bliss, but I would describe that feud as boring and uninteresting.
Were there any wrestlers that you didn't like to work with?
Oh, most definitely. One wrestler I would say I didn't like to work with is Nia Jax. Nia was dangerous as hell in the ring. She legit hurt me multiple times in our matches. I wasn't afraid to tell my grievances about her to management, but nothing changed.
Wasn't she the one that just broke your nose back at the Survival Series of 2018 as well?
Yes, that was the one that broke my nose at Survivor Series 2018. Even though my nose was broken, I still continued the match.
Okay, well, is there any wrestlers that you would like to work with?
I would love to work with Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley, because I don't have any history with them, and I love to see what we could do in the ring together, and I think we could put in some of the best women's matches in WWE history.
Oh, they certainly should have a feud with you.
Yeah, I think so too. I wouldn't mind a feud between me and Rhea and me and Bianca, because they're new women in WWE that I don't have no history with, and I think it would be crazy to see what I can do with both of them in the ring.
Is there anything you wanna tell me before we suddenly wrap up this interview?
I just want to thank you for letting me do this interview with you. I feel like we had a great conversation and it was wonderful talking to you.
Any questions you want to ask me personally?
Yeah, I got 2 questions I wanted to ask. First, do you have any women's wrestling dream matches? And second, do you have any women's wrestlers that you don't like?
Alright, well, let me try to answer those questions. So the first one, you said that if Then what are my women dream matches?
Yeah. What is a women's wrestling dream match you would like to happen?
Hmm. I've been always kind of wanting there to be a Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair feud. I think they could really tore down the house.
Yeah, I agree. Rhea and Bianca having a feud would be great. And do you have any women's wrestlers that you don't like?
I could at least tell you that half of the ones around the 2010s would kind of fallen into that list, but I can't exactly come up with any of their names right now.
Oh, okay. One last question. Who's your favorite women's wrestler of all time?
Ah, that's a tricky one. I'm gonna really have to dive in, like, into, like, I'm watching some more in order to, like, try to puzzle who could technically be my favorite. Cause that, cause I'm pretty sure that you're among the top 10 list for sure.
Well, at least I'm on your top 10 list, so I guess I'll take that. So that wraps up this interview.
Wait, there's actually, I was wondering if I could ask you some lighthearted questions.
Sure, go ahead. You can ask me anything you want.
Do you have a favorite sports team?
I would say my favorite sport team would have to be the Irish national rugby team because I was born in rugby country. So I grew up going to rugby games with my dad and I loved it.
Okay. So I guess my next question would technically be, mm, do you collect wrestling figures?
Yeah, I do collect wrestling figures. I have all types of WWE, Impact, and NJPW wrestling figures. My personal favorite to collect is the women's wrestling figures. I have a bunch of those.
I think I could easily take a guess that you probably do have like the four horsewomen like in stanzas figures, right?
Yeah, I have the whole four horsewomen, all the iconic NXT women's like Asuka, Sasha Bailey, Charlotte, and Becky. And of course, the new women's today, like Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Roxanne Perez, Tiffany Stratton, and Lyra Valkyria.
Okay, wait. Who do you think is technically in the four horsewomen?
The four horsewomen were and still are Charlotte Flair, Bailey, Sasha Banks, and Becky Lynch.
Okay, yeah, you got that right.
Glad I did. So is that the last question?
Oh no, actually, there is at least one more lighthearted question.
Okay, go ahead and ask it.
Any favorite movies you wanna comment on?
Yeah, my favourite movie of all time is Rocky because it's a classic movie about never giving up on your dreams. So that movie always means a lot to me.
Interesting.
What about you? What's your favourite movie of all time?
Back to the Future?
Oh, nice choice, a classic. What's your favourite Back to the Future film?
The first one.
Yeah, I love the first film because, you know, Marty becomes friends with the Doc, and plus it has the classic DeLorean.
Do you have any question, I guess? Well, one last question for me before we can officially call this interview done.
Yeah, I have one final question for you and then we're done.
Yeah, go ahead. You could tell me.
My last question for you is, do you think women's wrestling has finally broken the glass ceiling?
It most certainly has over the course of the years. It's amazing how it all evolved.
Yeah, I remember when I was a kid and the women's wrestling was just a total joke. like in around the Attitude Era, the women's wrestling was mostly just bra and panty match and mud wrestling. But now women's wrestling is like on a god tier level.
It has pretty much evolved from like having the matches be almost that equivalent to those of the male wrestlers.
Yeah, the women's wrestling has completely evolved compared to the past. We see women like Rhea and Bianca doing things like superplexes and other hardcore stuff. We would never see that during the Attitude Era.
There were perhaps some exceptions in the past, but it has mostly just been kind of feeling pretty normal now.
Yeah, that's pretty much true. There have always been women in the past, such as China Trish, Mickey James, Victoria, Lita, and Beth Phoenix, who were ahead of their time in women's wrestling. But the women nowadays are just on a whole other level.
And it's honestly kind of beautiful of how we kind of just finally went through that.
Yeah, it really is beautiful. We went from mud matches, bra and panty matches and all that crap back in the early 2000s to actual real women's wrestling that's on a level of the men. And it's been a wonderful time to witness.
Agreed. Thank you for letting me interview you.
You're welcome. Had a great time answering your questions. Thank you for doing this. It was fun.
Yeah, I'd say it was pretty fun.
Well, I gotta go now. It was a pleasure talking with you.
Alright, take care now.
You too, and have a wonderful night day.